Hi, y'all. Welcome back. So this is going to be Unit 4, Day 20. So as always, make sure you have your history notebook out and taking notes as you move through the video. And make sure that you complete the vocabulary for this video, either highlight it in your notes or make a note card out of it. So this will be the last day of notes. After today, it'll be reviewing, and we're going to keep reviewing until the AP exam. So let's go ahead and get started for today. So our terms for today are going to be Mao Zedong, Deng Xiaoping, the Great Leap Forward, the Cultural Revolution, and the Pest Campaign. The concepts for today are going to be the Chinese and political economic developments after World War II. So let's go over. So if you remember last we left off China, they were fighting a civil war between a nationalist and the Kuomintang, also known as the KMT, and they wanted to model their government after Japan. They were very nationalistic, if a little bit fascist. And they were fighting the communists under Mao Zedong, or the Chinese Communist Party. During World War II, they were still going to fight each other, but they kind of stopped to fight Japan. Their civil war will resume in 1945. The communists will be armed and supported by Communist Russia. And in 1949, Mao and the communists will defeat the nationalists. The nationalists will be driven out to the little island of Taiwan off the coast of China, and Mao Zedong will proclaim the People's Republic of China in 1949. So, the social economic transformations under Communist China, they're going to create a one-party system, the Communist Party of China. Suspected nationalists were executed or sent to forced labor camps. There's going to be an emancipation of women. They're going to make foot binding illegal. They're going to give divorce and abortion rights to women. Foot binding will also be ended. This is one of the reasons that women are very pro-communist in China. We've talked about in Chinese history that they are pretty much always patriarchal and sexist. This is one of the good things that the communists did as they liberated women, and women will be very much pro-communists. At first, Communist China will be allied with Russia, but you'll start to see the cracks in the alliance in the 1950s. By 1964, they're going to break apart, and China is going to remain neutral during the Cold War. As I mentioned earlier, how the nationalists were going to flee to Taiwan. The nationalists under Chiang Kai-shek are going to fled to Taiwan in 1948. Now, they will be protected by the United States, and they will develop their own modern industries. They're going to be part of the major world trading nation. We talked before of how they're like a little tiger. There will be increasing tension for reunification with China. Taiwan doesn't recognize them as a country. They're technically not a country, but they do have independence as long as other countries don't recognize them as a country. And as long as other countries aren't recognizing them as a country, China's kind of okay with the status quo because they know they don't want to lead to a world conflict. Now, recently there have been some saber rattling and kind of back and forth, but the chances of a conflict between China and Taiwan are very slim. In Taiwan. All right, so let's talk about Mao Zedong. 1949, he's going to declare the People's Republic of China. He's going to annex Tibet in 1949. He will have border conflicts and border wars with India. He'll support communist wars in Korea, Vietnam, and Southeast Asia. He'll intervene directly in the Korean War and prevent the American victory. He's going to try to industrialize China in the 1950s. This is called the Great Leap Forward. The Great Leap Forward was problematic as he wanted to catch up with industrialized nations. However, China really had no factories nor an industrial base. So he's going to try to create factories that are made out of like wood. He's going to collectivize agriculture. The farming industry will become more communal. There is going to be a huge agricultural disaster, a great famine from 1959 to 1962. Between 18 and 46 million people would die. He will refuse international support and aid. Mao Zedong is considered the greatest murderer in all of history, not not just because of the famine, but the hundreds of thousands and even millions of people he killed under his purges, similar to Stalin's. One of the things which he did was very problematic, which was the Four Pests Campaign. There were four animals that under Mao he thought were pests: rats, flies, sparrows, and mosquitoes. He's going to launch a campaign in China to kill these animals. But if you understand how biology and ecosystems work, even though rats and flies seem like they don't do anything, they're really like vital to decomposition and the ecosphere and biomes of farming and things. So he's going to encourage Chinese people to kill these animals, specifically sparrows, and this is going to have horrible results. So millions of sparrows are going to die. A sparrow's a type of bird, and they eat bugs that would normally destroy the crops. So if you kill the sparrows, the bugs eat the crops, which means people starve. He would even give awards out for if you showed you killed a certain amount of sparrows. So he made it like a competition for murdering, which causes famine. So I guess killing people wasn't enough. He's got to kill birds. But by killing the sparrows, it's going to lead to famine. From 1966 to 1976, some people were criticizing Mao. So he did a purge. This purge is called the Great Proletariat Cultural Revolution. He wanted to root out revisionism. He also wanted to revitalize the revolutionary fervor. Young students become the instrument of the revolution against the old elite. The old elite will be arrested, shamed, and marched out into nowhere. Some of them will be put in gulags and re-educated through torture. Remember, we talked about Puyi. Puyi was the last Chinese emperor. During World War II, he was the puppet for the Japanese government. After World War II, he's arrested by the communists. He's going to be indoctrinated, put in a concentration camp. Puyi will be brainwashed, and he will end his life as a gardener. So he started his life as an emperor and ended it as a gardener. Millions of people during the Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution will be subject to humiliation, persecution, and eventually death. So this shows propaganda, right? This is kind of the cultural great leap forward. They're riding a dragon with all the food, right? A lot of Chinese kind of art and things going into the propaganda. All right, this shows the death rate. You can definitely see a rise of the death rate during the Great Leap Forward, as well as the calorie intake reduced because of the famines. And this is because of the collectivization and the Four Pest Campaign. So let's talk about Deng Xiaoping. He's going to regain power in 1981. He kind of lost power under the Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution, but he's going to become the chairman of China and the leader in 1981. Deng Xiaoping is really important. He's going to welcome economic reforms. He's going to allow some capitalism in China. He realized that a full command economy was not working. He's going to allow some capitalism in China, some small business. However, unlike Gorbachev, he's not going to become more democratic. He's going to still be very much politically authoritarian. And when some pro-democracy college students try to demonstrate in Tiananmen Square in 1989, he's going to have his tanks run over them. But Deng Xiaoping is going to make China's economy the second biggest in the world. So after Mao Zedong, China will switch from a planned economy to a more capitalist market economy. They'll offer a vast, cheap labor system with huge domestic markets. China also doesn't have copyright laws or laws for environment or minimum wage, so you can get a lot of Chinese products really, really cheap. So here's a thing that shows the rise of the GDP. And you can really see that it really goes up after Mao. So, last thing we're going to talk about is a pretty recent initiative by the Chinese economy. There's a lot of debate in the world on whether China is going to surpass America and becoming the #1 economy of the world. It is kind of problematic. China has been doing a lot of really great things in the last 20 or 30 years. One of those that they've done since 2013 is that they've done something called the Silk Road Economic Belt, This is also known as the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative. This is a strategy by the Communist government, or the Chinese government in 2013. This is going to, they've invested in about 70 countries, international organizations. This is under the current Chinese President Xi Jinping, which in recent days has been kind of compared to like Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh, which can actually get you arrested in China for saying things like that and executed. But the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative is created overland routes and roads and railway transportation. They've invested money and built infrastructure, education, highways, railways, automobiles, power grids, iron and steel. If you look on the map, there are some of the things. A lot of it looks like it did with the old Silk Road, but it's built all of this to improve trade in a lot of areas in Central Asia, parts of Africa, and some even in some parts of Europe. And like a lot of these areas, especially in Central Asia, are areas that countries have not been invested in before. Central Asia is kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but this has made China even wealthier, and they have a lot of economic spheres of influence and a lot of sway in these areas. All right, so that's all the notes I have for you. Right? If you guys have any questions, be sure to ask them, and I'll see you guys in class. Remember, after this, it's just review till the exam. So thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in class. Bye.